Viva populist revolution. Viva! Viva populist revolution. Viva! Viva populist revolution. Viva! Viva nationalist revolution. Viva! From the United States to Australia and now to the United Kingdom, it seems like country by country, bit by bit, are electing leaders who are nationalists and populists and who care about their country over anything, who are financially on the conservative side, responsible, but who also, unlike conservatives in the past, which used to irritate me, the neocons and the Reagan type of conservatives who only cared about money and money above all else. These new nationalistic type of conservatives care about the public purse, but also do it in a way that's beneficial to the working man as well. And that is what happened in the United Kingdom 2 nights ago, where Boris Johnson swept to power, destroying Jeremy Corbyn, who I actually don't hate as much as a lot of people do. The one I really can't stand is the Liberal Democrat leader, Joe Swinson. It's funny, I mean, socialists and even communists, for example, they're misguided about the way to go about creating a socially just society, which I agree with. But the liberals and the Democrats and the globalists, those real hardcore globalists, who are in some ways turning out to be similar to the old business conservatives of the past who only cared about money, even if that means the total destruction. I mean, they're even worse. I mean, they care about money and the big business, even if it means the destruction of their nation's culture, which really irritates me. They got crushed. The Liberal leader in the United Kingdom ended up losing her own seat, Jo Swinson, up in Scotland. And speaking of Scotland, the Nationalists up there won more seats than anything, which, I mean, I would say they're misguided nationalists. I wouldn't consider them a part of the revolution because they are banging on the door of the EU, begging to join it. They want to break Scotland out of the UK, which is fine. If you want to go, go. Honestly, I prefer to take back Southern Ireland, and Scotland can go. I don't know, something about Scottish people, they kind of irritate me. Anyway, you watch, a few more fans are going to go now. But anyway, that's fine. The thing is that they want to leave the UK. EU is ready to treat them badly on day one. The EU has already told them, if you leave the UK, you're not coming into the EU. We don't want you. We don't want you. And if you do happen to come in, you have to take the euro. Now, the Scottish people think that they're going to leave the UK and then just get invited into the EU. I don't know, maybe times have changed now that Brexit's happening. But, I mean, they want to join an organization which is ready to treat them like dirt on day one. It's almost like that desperate kid in high school who had no girlfriend. He was a virgin. He sees the beautiful head of the cheerleader team, even though secretly she's got AIDS, and HIV and all these other sexually transmitted diseases, like the EU. It looks like a beautiful organization, but on the inside it's suffering from HIV and genital warts and all this stuff. And they want the woman, and the woman is saying no. That's Scotland. It's embarrassing. So I wouldn't consider them part of the revolution. But in any case, they're misguided. But it seems as though, and getting back to the point of this video here, this is kind of bittersweet to me. Because I'm happy that Boris Johnson is in. I'm happy that Scott Morrison won in Australia. I'm happy that Bolsonaro won in Brazil. I'm happy that Donald Trump is in as president. Not saying these people are perfect. I think there are actually a few things in the UK. There are a few things I actually agree with Jeremy Corbyn on. I agree that that UK should get out of NATO. I agree with that. Boris Johnson doesn't seem to agree with that. I don't think Jeremy Corbyn was an anti-Semite. I actually think he was telling the truth about Israel and about the Zionist snake and the Zionist parasite, which should be eliminated. I agree with him 100%. That's not anti-Semitic. The most hardcore Jew would agree with him. I agree with him on that. You know, everyone's saying he's anti. I agree with him. But anyway, the thing is that while I'm happy that these leaders are coming in, what is upsetting me as a Canadian, the fact that I'm here in this country, is that it seems like while the rest of the world is going forward, my country is going backwards. I mean, think about it. Look, we had an election where a clown, a Mac Daddy, a pimp who's pimped this country for years now, who has given billions of our dollars to other countries, billions, and not even for them to do anything decent with their countries. I mean, you know, it's almost like giving a person on welfare more money instead of teaching them how to do a job. You're giving these third world countries money, and they're continuing to be third world. They're not getting any better. They're getting worse. And, you know, giving 10 million of our tax dollars to a terrorist who killed 2 American soldiers, who is allowing natives, the first people here that we know of in this country, to live and suffer with poisonous drinking water, a person who humiliates and tries to caricature black folk by putting a black polish on his face like the clown he is, a person who allows us to give, you know, more and more of our tax dollars away, and who is responsible for the biggest job loss in decades. Meanwhile, that money, as I said, is going to terrorists and to other nations and to refugees who come into this country illegally, or illegal aliens, and who allows knives on aeroplanes. I mean, a clown like this gets reelected in this country while the rest of the world is moving forward. And, you know, I wrote something on Facebook. I said, y'all, if you don't get your act together, Canada, then maybe Wexit and Quexit and the whole breakup of the country's for the best. Because we don't have any pride in ourselves anymore. And I've said this from day one. This country, Canada, is screwed. It's like we don't know how to take care of a country. We're worse than people in Africa. I mean, it's sad. You know, I hear a lot of people in the West say, oh, Africa and Haiti and Somalia and Afghanistan and stuff. You know what? The rest of the world should come together and create a fund called the Help Canada Fund. And people should donate $1 to help a poor, needy child, preferably a native who's suffering with poisonous drinking water, or a poor bugger in Alberta whose parents have been laid off and the father wants to commit suicide because he can't work in the oil sector anymore, to help a child in Canada in need. Because I don't think we're any better than any of them third world countries out there in Haiti or Somalia or Zimbabwe with Mugabe and South Africa and the Middle East. We're no better. In fact, our thinking is no better. I mean, you had Zimbabwe for years. They would vote for Robert Mugabe, who destroyed their economy, destroyed their way of life, made Zimbabwe took it from one of the richest countries in Africa, the breadbasket, to a basket case. It was the breadbasket, and now it's a basket case and getting worse. And they continue to elect him. We're no better than them. We have this leader who clearly doesn't belong here, who's clearly the son of Satan, who's clearly a tacky-headed, long-haired, two-faced Mac Daddy, and we re-elected him. How are we better than the people in Zimbabwe? At least Robert Mugabe would have never given all of his money to other countries to help them with their problems. If he had money, he'd probably give it to his own people. So I think we're even worse. So it's a bittersweet thing that's happening in the world, because it's like my country, which I love, which I would never leave. I can leave it if I want. I'm a dual citizen. I don't have to live here. I was born in Canada. I was raised in Canada. But I've got American citizenship. I went to high school in the United States. I can move to anywhere in America I want. I moved to New Jersey. I can move to Florida. I can move back to Tennessee. I can move to Texas. I can move to Georgia. I can move to Michigan. I can move anywhere I want to. I choose not to, because I love my country. I love my people. I want to help this country. But it's like the country don't want help. And maybe I have to start thinking, I might as well, if you got to help people who want to be helped. And maybe I should just sit back and watch the country break apart. I support Wexit, the Western separation. I support Quebec having its own country. I'm not going to look down on Quebec because they want to escape this madness. I think, honestly, it looks like the provinces individually are doing better than the country as a whole. I mean, look at it, with all his faults, and I still call him my man Doug Ford. I have a special place in my heart for the Ford family. I know Doug Ford, he knows my name. I can humbly say that I had some part to play in getting him elected with Arana Nation. We came together and we really, really sent home the message. I will say that I did play some part, humbly. I'm sure he will say that too. Ontario has Doug Ford. Alberta has Jason Kenney, who is a provincialist. Quebec has, I think, the greatest premier of all, François Legault, New Brunswick. I think the provinces individually are doing quite well. So if they separate, maybe they'll do better on their own than they will together. And we just forget about this thing called Canada because it's like we have this beautiful country that God has given us. From Halifax to Vancouver and to Nunavut and all these places, and we can't take care of the damn place. Meanwhile, you've got England, you've got Australia, you've got America. Heck, you even got Brazil. Brazil. Hell, you even got Kenya electing leaders who are nationalistic, who are bombastically proud, who will do anything they can to keep their country wealthy, prosperous, independent from globalism and all this stuff. You got them being elected. And this madness of carbon taxes and milking the working man and milking the poor and taking advantage of them. You got people like that, but meanwhile also being conservative economically, lower taxes, balancing budgets, not on the backs of working class citizens though. You got them, but we don't have that. Now, I will grant you that most Canadians didn't vote for Justin Matakiet and Matt Daddy Trudeau. That's true, but he still won. Doesn't mean anything. That doesn't matter. We can say that all you want, but he's still in there. In fact, he's probably even more powerful. He's got his Tonto, his little porch monkey there, Jagmeet Singh, that's going to prop him up. So he's probably even more powerful than he was before. So because there's not even any credible opposition to stand up against him. The whole parliament, except for the Conservatives, are supporting him. And then you got people there saying, well, if you had elected Maxime Bernier, this wouldn't have happened. Maxime Bernier and Andrew Scheer are no better. In fact, Maxime Bernier is probably even worse of a globalist than the Matt Daddies. I'll tell you why. He wants to destroy our dairy industry. Now, okay, you know something? Ever since we were small, we were taught that the farmer is someone to be honored, respected. And especially your own person's farmer. You got people there saying, I prefer American farmers to Canadian. How stupid is this country on the left and the right? You really are saying, you really have the nuts to say that you prefer a foreign person's farmer to your own? Are you so lacking in pride, lackadaisically stupid? To hell with Maxime. He lost. He ain't gonna be prime minister, and neither is Andrew Scheer. I heard he resigned. I say good for you. When's the Conservatives going to learn that you can't fight the son of Satan with Ned Flanders? Come on, man. Andrew Scheer. Weak Andrew Scheer sold out all his principles, his socially conservative principles, which actually I don't think that there are that many socially progressive people in this country, you know. I think there are more socially conservative people out there who don't like abortion on demand, infanticide, people running around naked at gay pride parades. I think there are a lot more people who have those traditionalists, not radically traditionalists, but, sensibly traditionalist values in this country. There are more of them than you think. And this guy sells out all his principles for power. Why is he any better than it's like having a prostitute in there. He'll let everybody take advantage of him on this world stage. So they weren't any better alternative. We need somebody who is staunchly, unashamedly nationalistic, who will lead us to righteousness. And until we get that, and until we get rid of the son of Satan, we're going to go backwards and watch the rest of the world go forwards. It's up to you. This is the Arana Nation.